There has to be something I'm missing. A different nervous habit? The word. Let's look at his hand while he says father. Okay, no. Stop. Let's actually watch the whole nervous habit. We're not stopping on the right word, I'm guessing. I keep doing it too quickly. There's a scar. Gotcha! You were right. There was a different nervous habit. It was you who killed Drew Misham. A bluff worthy of your new mentor, Mr. Wright. Oh, really? But you see it. I saw it. Right when you said, her father too. Your hand tensed unnaturally, and a little devil appeared to give me the news. And let's assume for the sake of argument that you saw me being tense. What does that mean? Are all the tense witnesses guilty? And tell me, was Drew Misham fond of nail polish too? Sorry, but there's more than one way to poison a man. You don't need nail polish to get someone's mouth. Yeah. Then I must be very talented indeed. You see, Drew Misham was killed on October 6th, while I was already in my solitary confinement cell in Central Prison. If that's not an alibi, I don't know what it is. But you found a way, all the same. And I found it too. This is how you poison Misham. Here we go. I'm sure this commemorative stamp requires no introduction. The night Misham died, he was seen writing a letter. And triquinine was found on this stamp, Mr. Gavin. So am I to understand this stamp was the murder weapon? Yes, you are. And yes, this stamp was found in your prison cell. That is all, Your Honor. Order, order, order. Poison on the back of the stamp? After Drew Misham was killed, someone paid a visit to his witness's cell. Phoenix Wright. Daddy? That's when he found the stamp. You made Drew Misham write you a letter. That's how you killed him. What? My. You've upset my poor brother to the point of uselessness. Allow me to clarify this matter, Justice. All you need to do is recall witness Spock Bruchel's testimony. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in the envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp, end quote. He was looking for a stamp. Ergo, he had no intention of using this stamp. What are you getting at? What I'm arriving at is that this commemorative stamp was in a frame. It was a mere coincidence that it was used that night. That would seem to be the case. Or perhaps you mean to suggest I can somehow manipulate coincidence? He does have a point. How would this witness know if the victim was going to use that stamp? He couldn't have planned the murder. What? Really, Clavier? You should be seeing through those weak-spined bluffs by now. He's right, though. How could anyone have known Mr. Misham would use that stamp that night? Least of all, Christoph Gavin walked away in his cell. Well, it seemed that the defense has run out of things to say. You assume he had something to say in the first place. I believe the defense's bluff has been called. The defense's bluff. I'm not sure I agree with you there, Christoph. Clavier. Honestly, I wanted to believe you. But the defense wasn't trying to get away with a bluff. You were, Christoph. What are you saying, Prosecutor Gavin? Hey, Forehead. What was your accusation again? Huh? Oh, it was that this poison stamp killed Drew Misham, yeah? To which my brother responded thusly. There was no way to know when Misham would use the stamp. That's right, which is why it couldn't have been planned. Tell me, it needs to be planned. Why? Why couldn't it have been a coincidence? The defense's case is simply that Drew Misham died by that stamp, that's all. Coincidence. Christoph, you tried to slip out from under his accusation by changing the subject. If that's not bluffing, what is it? What are you up to, Clavier? I could ask you the same question, Christoph. I silenced the defense with the fewest words possible. It's called efficiency. But Mr. Gavin, that's impermissible testimony. Very well. I shall take his claim head on then. Justice. What? You accuse me of Drew Misham's murder, yes? Then, allow me to ask you, what possible reason could I have to kill a painter? Apollo, motive! He's talking about a motive! Indeed. It's hard to see how an attorney could come to want to kill a painter. The notebook? The forged evidence from 7 years ago. That's the key. The motive for murder. This is vital, if not the most vital element in this case. Please consider this when making your statement. I'd say it's about this vital. That's pretty vital. Mr. Justice, I'm going through with this no matter what. Understood, Your Honor. I'd like to present evidence. Then let's see what you have for us. What reason did Christoph Gavin have for wanting to murder
Measham. Christoph Gavin's motive becomes clear when we consider why the stamp came to Drew Measham's studio in the first place. And why was that? Forgery, Your Honor. Go back 7 years. Drew Measham accepted his first job creating forged evidence. I've seen that before. A page from a diary, wasn't it? Magnified Grandmire's diary. Oh yes, talking is very hard. I already ran out of water and juice. Oh, and Phoenix Attorney Phoenix Wright lost his badge, yes. That was the evidence he presented to his loss. This evidence is a fake, yes. But did Mr. Wright request the forgery to be made? That was never proven. The defense attorney on that case was Phoenix Wright. Who, other than him, drunk with the prospect of victory, could have done it? Why would they? Just out of curiosity, do you remember this letter? This is the first page. And this is the second. Those were presented in court yesterday. This letter was sent to Drew Measham by the client who requested that forgery. The enclosed stamp was none other than the poison commemorative stamp. Drew Measham drew his last breath just the other day. However, the motive for his murder was already 7 years old. 7 years old. The client who requested this forgery was very cautious. He tried to erase anything and anyone with connections to the forgery to keep them from talking, but he made a mistake. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it. Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. The killer's time bomb was delayed. The poison stamp was sealed within a glass frame, where it sat for 7 whole years. Oh boy, buffering. Airforehead. Do you understand what you're telling us? The one who schemed up the forged diary page was the one who poisoned the stamp. And it was Phoenix Wright who presented the forged evidence 7 years ago. Adding these two statements together, the one who schemed to kill Dr. Drew Measham was none other than Phoenix Wright. Sorry, but that's not how this is going to go down. Oh? Then how will it go down? I checked through the records on that case when I found this. 7 years ago, just before the trial began. Oh boy. Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. And one more thing. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. I understand I'm asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Phoenix Wright was put on the case the day before the trial started. He didn't have time to request the forgery. The day before? Now here's a question. Just who was Shady Enigmar's previous defense attorney? No, this can't be. But it is all true. There was another man, a defense attorney with a badge on his collar. It was you, Christoph Gavin. Order, order, order! What is the meaning of this, witness? I mean, defendant? I mean, former lawyer? Let me begin by denying this. It's easy enough to look up, Mr. Gavin, and impossible to prove if you can't. Attorneys are registered with the court the day before the trial begins. In other words, no record remains in the court. How exactly do you intend to prove Phoenix Wright's claim? That would be difficult. I'm afraid this line of inquiry won't yield. Forehead. Are you sure you don't have evidence? What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks clammy. Evidence. Evidence that shows this man, Christoph Gavin, requested that forgery 7 years ago. 5 years? Just prove it. Clear up these doubts now, or I swear I'm off this case. You must have thought of some evidence, Apollo. Prosecutor Gavin looks like he's in physical pain. That darkness. I have to pull that darkness out of him, and the proof is the only way I can. What proves Christoph's link to Drew Measham? Well, Mr. Justice, you claim Christoph Gavin requested a forgery of Drew Measham 7 years ago. Prove it. It can be proven. Simply ridiculous. Why even discuss it? This evidence does not. Are you telling the truth, Apollo Justice? I am. Then I say we give it a doubt. Very well. But if you're wrong about this, be prepared for a penalty. Your Honor, you do the defense an injustice. Mr. Justice is clearly passionate about his claim. Should the penalty not match his passion? I haven't given a penalty like that in a long time. Well, Mr. Justice? Fine, Your Honor. All I have to prove is any kind of link. Something that ties Christoph Gavin to Drew Measham. And I have something that clearly does the job. The letter from Measham. The yellow envelope. This evidence proves there's a link. That scrap of paper? I'm afraid I can't let you submit that. Is there some problem? There is. How could you possibly have that? You couldn't. Hey, that's Daddy's handwriting. Mr. Wright's handwriting? What is the meaning of this? I see now. Yes, of course. What do you mean, of course? I just remembered I had a visitor yesterday. Phoenix Wright came to my cell. Except I wasn't there. Phoenix Wright? When I returned, I saw he had something of mine in his possession. Of course, I had no intention of letting him get away with reading my private mail. Mail? You mean this letter was in your cell? No. However, it appears Mr. Wright is yet to be cured of his bad forging habit. Well, if it is a forgery, it's not a very good one. The handwriting's terrible. This is Mr. Wright's reproduction of what was written in the real letter. Reproduction? When Mr. Wright visited Christoph Gavin's cell, he brought with him a small video camera. What? He recorded his entire conversation with you, Mr. Gavin, and the contents of your personal mail. Regardless, this mockery of a piece of evidence will never be accepted by the court. Evidence based on a video of a man with no authority claim with it whatsoever claims he took. A man who happens to be an ex-attorney suspected of forgery. Prosecutor Gavin. Prosecutor Gavin. As embarrassing as this is for me to say, I'm afraid my brother is incapable of making rational judgments at the moment. Your Honor, your decision, please. The defense's claim is denied. What? Only actual evidence is presented in a court of law. Please remove the defense's evidence from the record. Better luck next time, Justice. Well, we've certainly taken a detour from our cross-examination, but the defense appears to be lacking proof. I am forced to end the cross-examination of Christoph Gavin at this point. Apollo, do something! I'm thinking, but without evidence, I don't have anything I can use on him. Very well, this ends the special witness's cross-examination. The show's over, yet the crowd screams for more. Only now do I understand why. Prosecutor Gavin? Frankly, I'm relieved. This has been bothering me for 7 whole years, and I'm tired of the whole youthful angst scene. Now's our chance. Let's clean out the family closet, eh, Kristoff? Flavia, you're spinning out of control. Calm yourself before you say something you'll regret. Spinning out of whose control? Mine or yours? Take a moment to consider everything you've built. Your reputation as a prosecutor, your fame with the masses. You could lose it all, Flavia. Apollo, did you see that? He's trying to press Prosecutor Gavin. Prosecutor Gavin, try to remember what's really important to you. You amuse me, Airforehead. I couldn't forget what's really important to me, even if I tried. In fact, I haven't. Not even once. 7 years ago. Finally, you just couldn't resist, could you? Air Wright. Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. State your name and occupation for the record. I'm familiar with the trial. I've watched the video several times. Didn't you find anything unnatural about it? Unnatural? Well, you did seem unusually well prepared. I mean, Mr. Wright had only just presented his evidence. And the next moment you call in Drew Measham. It was almost as if... Almost as if what? Funny, it didn't even occur to me to wonder. But now that I do, I see there's only one possible explanation. Almost as if from the very beginning, you knew Mr. Wright was going to present that evidence. Ah! Correct. I knew that if I applied the usual pressure, Phoenix Wright would eventually come up with that forged diary page. Don't do this, Clavier. I knew because you told me, Kristoff. What? It was the night before the trial. Flavia. Kristoff? Odd seeing you at the prosecutor's office the day before the trial. Ah, I won't be appearing in the trial, actually. Huh? Why not? I won't be facing off with you on your first trial, apparently. But in exchange, I brought information. Information? The attorney who will be there in my place tomorrow is not to be trusted. Don't even give him the benefit of your respect. Listen, I want you to call in a special witness. Then. I wondered about it at the time. How did Kristoff know so much? Prosecutor Gavin. Kristoff! We were supposed to face each other in that trial. A fair fight, brother to brother. I deserved that much. You let me borrow the victim's belongings. You showed me all your research on the case. The victim's belongings? Which would have included Magnify's diary, wouldn't it? Mr. Gavin? My, Clavier. You disappoint me. You find trees, yet miss the forest. You're the one missing the forest, Gavin. You can't sweep this under the rug, not anymore. Tell me what was going on behind that trial. Why not? I've achieved what I came here to do. I see no harm in a little reminiscing. Paula, I think we're finally going to shine a light on the black belly of this thing, Trucy. I hope it's enough. 7 years ago, the day before the trial, I visited the detention center at the request of my client, Zach Grumire. 2 cards. 1 card. Showdown time. Enough. You lose, Gavin. Thanks for the work. Now go. To be honest, I don't know what his reasons were to this day. As far as I could tell, he dismissed me as his representation because I lost in a game of poker. I came to no other conclusion. Danny used to say something. If you want to know a man, you have to compete. Zach wasn't watching his points or the cards. He was watching the man behind the cards, Christoph Gavin. I couldn't believe it. Phoenix Wright, a second-rate attorney who relies on luck and bluffs? He dismissed me and went with that pitiful excuse of a man? He deserved to die for that error alone. Hold it. So the one who requested that forgery was... Oh, I'm not admitting to anything. My point is, these two men shamed me, and I could not forgive that. Phoenix Wright and Zach Grimeri both deserved what they got. So you asked Mr. Measham to forge that evidence, so you could win. But then, you were dismissed as Zach Grimeri's attorney. You used your forged evidence as a trap. You fed me information about the forgery you made. Then you gave your dirty evidence to him. You're free to imagine what you will. My point is that all I had imagined came to pass. Everything went perfectly. Ha. Incredible. If I wasn't laughing, I'd weep. Prosecutor Gavin? Perfectly. You're mad, Christoph. Stop fooling yourself. What are you talking about, Clavia? Tell me, how did that trial end? Cancelled when the defendant vanished. I get it. So, Christoph, you've been living in fear for 7 years. What? You were afraid your forgery would be revealed and your reputation trashed. You couldn't leave things to chance, so you watched everyone involved with the case for 7 years. You know, he always felt like he was being watched. That's what he said, every day, for 7 years. But I felt it too. Journalist sure is being watched, end quote. Don't you wonder why Zach Grimeri got rubbed down after 7 years? Right after coming into contact with me? Wait just a minute. Zach Grimeri was seen by this reporter? How is that possible? Was he alive after being gone 7 years? Finally. I knew this moment was coming. I just didn't think we'd get here so fast. Zach Grimeri gone missing for 7 years. Truthy's father. What's wrong, Apollo? Go get him. Right. Leave it to me. Allow me to refresh the court's memory. 6 months ago, Christoph Gavin was charged with murdering a mysterious traveler. I remember him quite well. Shady Smith, was it? Poisoned in a Chinese restaurant. Tragic. The details don't really matter right now. What matters is that the traveler was Zach Grimeri. What is it, Apollo? Huh? Keep going! We'll talk about it later. Did you already know? Someone please explain this. Mr. Justice, can you explain this? It all started 7 years ago. The great magician, Magnify Grimeri's death, started it. Magnify Grimeri's death and his student Zach Grimeri, the suspect. Whoever defended Zach in court would be famous beyond belief. Thinking that, Christoph Gavin did the unthinkable. He forged evidence. Drew Measham. Actually, it was his daughter, Vera, who really did the work. You took precautions when you had that forgery made, didn't you, Mr. Gavin? Precautions? To keep people from talking, of course. These two know too much. Leave them alive and there'll be nothing but trouble. That's when you planned your poisoning of the forgers. And triquinine. Applied to a commemorative stamp. But luck was on Mr. Measham's side. The bomb didn't go off. His daughter. She saved him by taking the stamp. I see. But that wasn't the only bomb he set up. The Ariadne nail polish, of course. You noticed something when he requested that forgery. When Vera Measham is nervous, she has a bad habit. A tendency to bite her nails. Ah, that nail polish was her good luck charm. She was almost kidnapped once. Since then, she's been, well, you can see for yourself. She refuses to leave the house. That person gave me a good luck charm when I absolutely had to go outside. It protects me. Yes, apparently. She received something, a gift. She won't tell me what it was. It was the one from the client, the one who wanted the note made. It was his insurance. Insurance? As long as she lived quietly at home, there was no danger to her. But what if she had to go outside? If she ran in trouble, she'd become nervous. And the nail polish would do the rest. His time bomb sat there for 7 years, and then they went off almost simultaneously. If you're finished, may I return to my cell now? I'm not accustomed to standing for such long periods of time. Mr. Gavin, have you heard a single thing we said? Oh, I listened quite closely to your little tale. Quite an entertaining piece of fiction. What?
Javier, surely you understand. We're back to the evidence. The lacking evidence. Nothing proves a link between him and Antiquity that took Drew Measham's life. What about the restaurant? You killed Jack Grameyer to keep him from talking. I killed no man of that name. Read over the report again if you like. The victim was a traveler by the name of Shady Smith, about whom we know little else. You can't seriously think that I knew he was that particular fugitive? Okay, then why did you kill him? I plead my right to remain silent. Remember, this court did not convene to put me on trial. The defendant's name is Vera Measham, suspected in the murder of her father. My trial's been finished for 6 months now. I'm afraid we have strayed considerably from our purpose here. This court concurs with the witness. It is the defendant, Vera Measham. No, but you were doing so good, Apollo. As long as there is no evidence to support the accusation against him, this court of inquiry cannot find Vera Measham innocent.
Your Honor, Phoenix Wright spent 7 years collecting this evidence. You still don't get it, do you? Let us assume there was poison in the nail polish. Who was, then, responsible for causing Vera Measham to bite her nails? What? It wasn't me, I know that much. The one who brought that poison to her lips was you. What? Evidence is everything. There is nothing more. I believe this discussion has reached its conclusion. Your Honor, Mr. Justice, you have performed admirably well for a novice attorney. I respect your partner, Phoenix Wright's determination as well. However, without direct proof, you have nothing. Isn't that right, Clavier? Unfortunately, yes, Christophe, you're right. That is, you would have been right, until now. What? Did the news not reach your desk in solitary? The eyes of the nation are on this courtroom today. This is the trial case for a new judicial system. That's right. I'd totally forgotten. The jurist system! Jurist, you say? The current judicial system has been deemed too closed off from society. This new system attempts to inject the wisdom of common citizens into the law. Common citizens? Wisdom? Is this some kind of joke? What could we possibly gain by doing this? Entrusting our judicial system to mindless, emotional mob of irrational mouth breathers? Common citizens have something called common sense. Common sense is not restricted by the law. Nonsense! There is only room for two in the court. Me and the law. Keep the riff-raff out, I say! They're not in the court, actually. They're watching everything by video camera. How can you allow this? Incidentally, The one responsible for making this happen was Phoenix Wright. Right? So, everything was leading up to this. Of course. Right. 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 Right! I won't accept. I can't accept. This is no court. Law. The law is everything. Law is absolute. You'd let ignorant swine soil your courts? Kristoff, it's over. Clavier. The law is absolute? Can't be serious. What? Odd. I thought you spent your life looking for loopholes. The law isn't absolute. It's filled with contradictions. The law is the end product of many years of history, the fruit of human knowledge, like a gem polished to gleam through trials and errors. It is this fruit we receive and pass on and face in our time. And it is always changing, growing, nurturing. It is always our task as human beings. Except for you, Kristoff. You aren't changing. You've stopped. You're not needed anymore. I couldn't think of anything to say. Maybe because I still haven't seen enough. But someday I'll know what law is. And I'll fight to change it if I have to. I see no need to further prolong this trial. This began as the trial of Vera Measham, accused of murdering her father, the painter Drew Measham. However, several other incidents were reviewed, and we seem to have reached a conclusion. Before this court declares a verdict, I await your decision, jurist of the court. For the death of Drew Measham, how do you find the defendant? Innocent or guilty? I turn to you now to consider this matter. October 9th, 12:48 p.m., Jurist's Chambers. This ends the trial for this case. Only the verdict remains to be decided. Defendant Vera Measham is currently in intensive care. If a decision cannot be reached today, it may never be reached. The factors involved are simple. Did the defendant poison her father that night? If so, is she guilty? Or is there another reason for Measham's death? Did another person poison him? If so, he is innocent. A panel is provided for each of you to input your decisions. That is all. Please wait! Yes, jurist number 6? There's something in the jurist handbook here. Persons involved in the case may not be with jurists. That is correct. I've looked into your dossiers. None of you are involved with the development of the case. With the development of the case? I see. Does that answer your concern? It's time for your verdicts. Make your decision in the case against Vera Measham. After 7 years, the truth is ready to be heard. Judge wisely. Judge well. Not guilty. And so a verdict was reached on October 9th, 2:14 p.m. The first verdict under the jurist system. Innocent by unanimous decision. The record will show that when the verdict was announced, special witness Kristoff Gavin laughed. A laugh louder than any heard before or since. A laugh that echoed in the halls of justice, lingering what seemed like for hours. October 10th, 8:30 a.m., the morning after the trial. In an intensive care ward, a true miracle occurred. Vera Measham opened her eyes. Hickfield Clinic. There, I'm so glad. Don't cry, Apollo. I'm happy too and proud. You did well, Apollo. When I thought about what if Vera... Hey now, don't you start crying too. Sorry you had to see us like this. Oh. Yay, I beat the game! Vera? Thank you so much, Apollo. Thank you. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pressed you like that. If I hadn't, you never have bitten your nails. No, I was wrong. Staying locked inside like that, clinging to my good luck charm? Vera. When I opened my eyes and saw you, I finally understood. It's important to be part of the world. To see things with your own eyes. Looks like the poison had some effect after all. It killed off whatever was holding Vera back from life. I knew you'd pull back through, Vera. I mean, that's what Apollo was fighting for the whole time. Your future. I won't forget it. Here, let me thank you. No, really, it's okay. Oh, look, it's me. I love it, thanks. Is that me? You really captured your essence, Apollo. Well, I think so, at least. That reminds me. You know where the other lawyer is? The other lawyer? Oh, you mean Daddy. Except he's not a lawyer anymore. It's my fault, isn't it? I'm sorry. No. That's not what I meant. No, it's okay. I'm through looking away from the things I've done. I hope I can look him in the eyes again someday and apologize. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear that. He brought all those things for me when he came to visit earlier. You mean that stack of whole videos? Mr. Wright finished watching them all? You know, I knew my real daddy was alive. Huh? I was there 7 years ago, remember? I was the one who helped him vanish from the courtroom. You did what? How? I'm not telling. He promised me that day he went away. We may not meet again for some time, Trucy. But know this, I will be watching, and one day I shall return. You're the next Grimmary, after all. Trucy. In the end, he couldn't keep that promise, could he? It's okay. Phoenix is my daddy now. Even if he can't play the piano. Even if your voice is kind of loud sometimes. Glad I made your list. Hey, come to think of it, where is Daddy, the one who can't play? You know Apollo? I think he said he had to meet someone. I wonder, maybe it's my new mommy. Oh, Trucy. Yes, Vera? I was wondering, did you show him once more? It's your hat, was it? Oh, he's not benighted. Yet. Oh, crap. Here goes. Do us an impersonation, Mr. Hat. Objection! Not loud enough. And I like Miss Magic Underwear better anyway. That's that's Magic Panties, Apollo. Thank you for following, SD-Man. So, your memory's returned. That's right. Was this all part of your plan, too? I don't know what you're talking about. When I lost my memory, I was reborn as Lammeror. But you knew my true identity, did you not? That is why you chose me as one of your jurists. No, you're thinking into it too much. Besides, there was no guarantee that regaining your memory would make you happy. Of course, it is a happy thing. For so long, I thought I was alone. But now I know I have children. 2 dear children. I'm so proud of them. This, too, I think, is thanks to you. Are you going to tell them? They do not know? Nope. They don't know that don't know their mother. They don't even know their siblings. I will go to them when the time is right. Until then, don't worry. I'll take care of them for you. They're very important to me, too. A little annoying at times, but still. I have to keep an eye on her, at least. I'm the only one who knows how she really feels on the inside. Your bracelet. Yes? I've seen a lot of mysterious things these past 7 years. But your bracelets were the strangest of all. Yep, Juris number 6 was Lamroar, aka Apollo and Trucy's mother. I remember meeting him half a year ago now in Christoph Gavin's office. And then I met you. Two fates destined to intertwine. And I was there when they crossed. I'll never forget that. Such a small thing, that bullet. Yet it tore who I was away. "10 years ago, during a simple rehearsal. It was a miracle no one died. But I didn't survive that accident. That is why I left the troupe, my family. Now, my memory has returned. I am myself once more. For the first time, I am glad to be alive, Mr. Wright. Speaking of miracles, Vera Misham regained consciousness this morning. I can only hope she's as glad as you are. It is a strange thing, fate. Sometimes a life is taken. Sometimes a life is spared. You know what I've been thinking? People don't die that easily, really. As long as they've got something worth living for. Aww. That's pretty much the end of my story. For now, anyway. I still got a long way to go. And this power of mine needs some work. But there's hope now. We'd lost it, but somehow we found it again. That's why people are smiling again. Hope. Yeah, I think we'll keep at this lawyer thing for a while. Oops, training time. Gotta go. Cord of Steel. Here comes justice! Well, I'm glad everybody came to watch me complete Apollo Justice. Of course, follow the Switch. I don't know what we'll stream next, but that'll be something. You can follow me on Twitter for updates and stuff. You can support me on Patreon so I can stream more often. And you can add me on Steam if you want to play a game with me. And if you play a game with me, you might actually get to be on a stream if you want to. So anyway, I'll just let the credits play. And I'm gonna be getting ready to go.